This is my theme to start the show. Games in hand.
I already know where you're going with this. It's great.
So, I am an optimistic person.
No.
I watch the games. I am cheering for the Canucks, and I want them to do well.
Are you also an optometrist?
No, but I can see.
Got him.
The Canucks are 3 points out of the playoffs, but they have 5. There are at least 5, if not 6, games in hand against every team around them. And every week, there are elements of this show that are becoming Groundhog Day. But the ground in the standings they need to make is getting a little alarming.
Can I ask, like, why such a huge discrepancy when they were putting together the schedule? Is it because they think Vancouver has the most to travel?
I'm not too sure, but if I remember correctly, a couple of Winnipeg games were postponed because of COVID, and it's your standard Canucks road schedule. Jam them all in at once, and then when the games don't matter, that's when you get to rest.
Jam them all in and let God sort them out is what my grandmother used to say about the Canucks schedule.
But I'm a fan of reruns.
Okay.
Because remember when you were a kid, you would miss that episode of The Simpsons, but then you would remember that they would show it again in the summer. The schedule makers, who are publicly enemy number 1 on the Pucks on the list of enemies, they haven't been gelling well with our podcast schedule. And we had to record during a game last week, and we missed most of the game. The Canucks had a nice 2-goal lead early. Then they took their foot off the gas a little bit each period, and then blew their lead and had some last-second heroics, and then immediately lost it in overtime. And I was like, man, I'm sad I missed that game. But by golly, last night they played the exact same game against the Winnipeg Jets. I saw my rerun, and everything was hunky-dory.
Is anyone excited about what we're watching?
No. Remember, this is what apathy is. That silence, that 5-second silence in between waiting for the three of us to say something, that is apathy. Clip that, and that is exactly what's fucking going on right now. Nothing we taught, like, they lost again in the same way. They put pedal to the metal for 2 periods, let the foot off the gas, come back in the last minute, lose in overtime. And you look like you brought up games played, Ryan.
Yeah.
Look at Calgary right now. Calgary has games in hand. They just won tonight against Toronto, but they have games in hand on the Canucks. They have more points than the Canucks. And that team is talking about rebuilding.
Yeah.
So what does that say?
Well,
like I don't know, man.
What
are we doing?
Do you think a strongly worded tweet would change Calgary's fortunes for the better?
Do you think Brad Treliving coming out and giving everyone in Alberta a $10 voucher to Boston Pizza will be the thing that turns everything around?
Well, as we know from last weekend, that the Canucks could lose every game this way. Every single, whatever they have left, like 30 games or 500, it doesn't matter.
Here we are in a short season being like, oh, there's a lot of games.
There's still 82 games left. What are we watching?
God.
And nothing's going to change because we've been told nothing's going to change.
No, and Arash, you brought up a good point. Like later on in the show, we're going to talk about the Nashville Predators, who are 4 years removed from a Stanley Cup run, and 2 and 3 years removed from being, one of the most impressive cores of a hockey team and in the NHL. To now they're like, well, shit, everybody's on the market except for 3 players. And meanwhile in Vancouver, it's, hang on, guys, we got this. We are staying the course.
And that patience is being lauded.
Mm-hmm.
There a lot of the argument was, well, they needed to come out and say they needed to make a position. It's like, well, yeah, but one of those positions is managerially, it doesn't aspire to give anything to the fan base. Like, now let's also, God, I'm going to go on a little bit of a run here. But okay, this is my brain breaking. I've reached the point of Windows has crashed because I'm not on Apple because Apple never crashes, but Windows has crashed in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say within this 2-year window, okay, so Francesco gives them the kiss of death or the vote of confidence movement. Now, let's say even after this catastrophe of a season happens, they're, Jim and John Weisbrod and are brought back and given one more chance. The same people that got you into this catastrophe in this market are the same people you're trusting to when some of these contracts immediately go up with Beagle, Roussel, et cetera, et cetera. Edler's coming off the books this year, Pearson and whatnot, Erickson after this year or 2 years from now. These people are the same people you're going to trust to now have learned to have their coming to God moment about the cap. And
Arash,
if that answer is yes, then you deserve to have any flakes or semblance of criticism coming your way. If the answer is no, then why are you waiting?
Yeah.
So what are we doing? What is it like? Why?
Maybe Vancouver just isn't that desirable of a place.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'm reading between the lines, Arash, and here's what I'm going to cook up. When somebody that's maybe immature, not the best with money, an inheritance is going to come their way, you don't give the 18-year-old the thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. You put it in a trust, and it comes out over time. We're going to set up a trust for Jim Benning's salary cap. He can't use it all immediately. He can get a little bit. He can get a Tyler Mott once a year. He can get a Grandlin or whoever once a year, but he's not going to get everything right off the bat to get a Drew Doughty.
He's not going to give Dougie Hamilton 10/7. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Geeta, where are you at? I think it's pretty obvious where I am at, and I'm trying to stay positive and take as much as I can game from game, but
you can probably suss out exactly where I am by what I've interjected so far. I've certainly lost interest in this team, and you're kind of watching now with a side eye. There's no intrigue left because it's rinse and repeat. There's no excitement. This team isn't exciting. I'm not there for a moral victory. I'm so dejected by what I've been told. And this is not 3 years into the grand scheme of things. This is the grand fucking scheme, and it's not great.
It's not great.
No, and you're watching the team. They play the exact same game. There's this level of apathy and complacency through most of it, and then a desperation at the end. You watch them play the exact same power play. If you were taking a drink every time Elias Pettersson faked a one-timer in his office on the power play, you would have had your stomach pumped for alcohol poisoning. There's nothing imaginative about this team. It's just, I don't know.
It's gone stale. Sometimes, I know they say don't make changes for the sake of making changes, but sometimes you should make a change for the sake of making a change because it's going to inject new life.
Yeah. Well, how many people change? Yeah, we've all shimmied our room around and done different wardrobe changes and moved a TV when we really didn't need to move a TV, but we did it because we just needed a change in perspective or some shit.
Do you not for the girls listening, every time you go through a breakup, you cut off your hair.
Ladies, and every time boys go through a breakup, we
push it down. We push it down and we forget about it. And then
we suppress it, and
then we go. Are you saying that the Canucks are handling this like a boy by pushing it down and pretending it didn't happen?
Geeta, let me tell you what men do, okay? We suppress it, we push it down, we go get a number one dress on, we go to Republic, get a couple drinks, hey, there's some girls dancing there, but guess what? They're probably not there just to have a good time in their own space, and I should respect it. No, they're probably there because they knew I was coming. whatever.
So what you're
dog
saying
toxic
is you give them a 6x6 deal.
Hey, you might not know me, but I'm going to throw a lot of money your way for no assessment of talent whatsoever.
So back to
Yeah.
the point I was trying to make. Sometimes you need to make a change and cut off the dead weight.
Yes, that's 100%.
You don't
where
go
it's at.
and put more money into more dead weight.
Well, no, I talked about it. I talked about it a little while ago. Like we all wanted our pound of flesh. We wanted our it's so hard. And people talk about what the run was last year in the bubble. The run last year in the bubble wasn't a complete. It was like a fever dream. Like I said, it was like a fever dream. I don't think anyone took it as being 110% of the base reality of what this team was. Did we overachieve? Yeah. Did we run into Jordan Binnington, who decided to, I don't know, just fucking listen to The Cure a lot and just got depressed and just let in fucking goals? Yeah, sure.
Hey, he has a bitter taste in his mouth because of losing the Calder to Petey, and that bitter taste. When you guys eat, you have that bad morning breath, and you don't brush your teeth right away. It can ruin your whole morning. That was Jordan Bennington for an entire series. It was distracting.
Yeah, and then we went against Vegas, and then we had, I don't know, again, Thatcher Demko was on roids and just decided to have his 3 games. And so, okay, we take that as we take that as like one of the bars. Like if Vegas was the 4th gym leader in Pokemon, it's like the same logic. So you couldn't beat the 4th gym leader. So now you're coming back to the 4th gym leader with lesser, stronger Pokemon, thinking that you'll beat it. Like, no, you won't. You're just not. You got to go outside and you got to level for a bit. You got to grind fucking Drowsies and Raticates until you fucking, get a Wartortle or some shit.
I mean, all of the prognosticators and analysts have been saying that, in the intermissions, it's all Pokemon comparisons.
Friend of the podcast, Ray Ferraro, has brought up the fact that we need to get a Butterfree. They need to get sleep powder and poison powder immediately. This team, I don't know what they're doing.
A couple of positives out of Sunday night's game. Elias Pettersson knows how to score. He's the only Canuck that really knows how to score. He knows how to score one goal over and over and over and over again, which starts to make me think, and I brought this up last week, and I believe I brought this up the week before. If he just shot the puck, I think that they could stop wasting so much time. But maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, he had that sick backhand goal. That was dope.
Incredible.
And then listen, like if it's the same as Ovi. If a player has a spot and they are comfortable in that spot and they can produce in that spot, leave them in the spot. And then if the defense wants to adjust specific, like it's the same thing with Ovechkin. How many players on defending against the Washington power play encroach into Ovechkin's space, and by encroaching into that space in the top right corner or the top right slot, that's Backstrom, Oshie, Kuznetsov, Carlson that are left open, right?
That's a good 5-headed monster.
Yeah, so if they want to take away Petey, then that leaves the bumper from Besser to Horvat. Or JT Miller, that JT Miller's little cute little behind the thing. It's become so obvious of the moves, we can name. It's the PD shot, the JT Miller backhand thing back to Quinn Hughes, or the JT Miller to Besser to Horvat bumper position shot that they did. They did something really cute yesterday, though. I don't know if you guys saw, but they did it that I'm pretty sure it was instead of Miller passing down to Besser to Horvat, it was Miller holding on to it, knowing that they're anticipating the pass to Besser, but just Miller immediately passing it over to Horvat for the shot. And that was the one cute thing I saw, and I was like, all right, okay, so that's the pound of flesh we get, is that they adjusted to that.
A couple
like
less,
that's cool.
There's a 1 or 2 less gigantic drop passes a game, but now you've got that one little cute move. What a trade-off.
What a trade-off, dude. I don't know. I'm starting to think, and I'm really wanting to place a bet on this. How much do you guys bet that when the trade deadline this year comes around, the same thing that happened with Dan Hamhuis and Radim Verbata in 2016 will happen with Sutter, Pearson, and Roussel or whatever other UFAs, Edler, and the excuse given will be used as the pandemic or we couldn't trade people. It'll be
we ran out of time.
We ran out of time, and it's like your deadbeat cousin.
I just don't have it.
You know what's gonna happen? It's that they're gonna be like exactly where they are right now with too many games played, but like 3 points out of the playoffs. And so they're like, but look, we kind of have a chance. So we need to hang on to all of these guys because they're gonna push us in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then they will literally have run out of time and not have made the playoffs.
No, absolutely not. Like, Ryan, how many people on Twitter fell for that points post that you made? That was, you need to look at games played. It's like, that's the joke.
I was really dry. I was real dry on Twitter last night. And sometimes I approach things with a simpleton or a closed-minded mindset. And if a casual fan goes to the standings report on NHL.com and sees three games back with Montreal fizzling out and the Calgary Flames, except for what just happened right before we started recording, fizzling out and goaltending an issue, like things are fine. Things would be fine. Things would be fine if you had a busy schedule and you were playing teams in Florida or Boston or other divisions. But when every game is a 4-point game and the only way you get points is in overtime, it's a really big mountain. We want them to climb that mountain.
Oh, yeah, we do.
But I'm reminded of, I always like to bring this up. I can remember when in like 97 or 98, where every day I would get the sports section in the Calgary Sun and I would look at, the Canucks they have 38 points. Okay, they're better than Florida and the Dallas. Who would be bad? Like
what year? What year are you talking?
97.
Yeah, 97, 98.
San Jose.
Yeah, sure. They're better than San Jose, and that's great. So there's 4 teams that are worse than them, and I'm kind of looking at it like that. Like, well, if Ottawa takes 3 games against this team and the Oilers take 3 against the Canucks, then everything will add up. But that's a lot of ifs and buts and candy and nuts. Yeah. So
I think the best tweet that I did see in the last couple of days, not that yours weren't great, is that someone had the standings and then added a column for moral victory.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Jesus fucking Christ.